everybody, and welcome to our top 10 quick comic picks. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our show where we go over very quickly 10 of the biggest and best and books that we think you most want to hear about that are going to be coming out this week from your local comic book store, or if we're your local comic book store, from us. So, very excited about this week. A lot of good information.
Yeah.
So, we're going to get into it right away, starting with.
Immortal Thor #1. It's finally here, the new run of Thor from Al Ewing. This is the first appearance of a villain called Taurenos. I hope I'm saying that right. But outside of that, this issue just feels kind of like a almost like a back to basics approach to Thor. He's back in his classic costume. Mjolnir is all put back together. We even get the Rainbow Bridge back, all that kind of stuff. But there is something more sinister lurking just when Thor thinks that everything is all great and good and he's all happy again. This villain Tornos appears, and it's pretty shocking, I'll say. And you definitely don't want to miss it. You definitely don't want to miss it because it was really, really good. Just a good, strong start to a new Thor series.
And next up for me, I have DC Night Terrors #4. So, this is the final issue of the 4-issue miniseries of Night Terrors. Now, don't be mistaken because this does not end this story, though.
Right.
There is going to be one final kind of bookend issue coming out next week that's going to wrap everything up. But if you've been reading the main story, a lot does get kind of resolved in this issue. A lot of mystery is found out. Just a really solid issue all around. Really like this one.
Next from DC is the Penguin #1. This was really good too. So Penguin is kind of living a nice, quiet life in Metropolis. He has his daily routine that he goes about every day, but he's under surveillance from the federal government, and they eventually capture him and tell him that, hi, you are going to work for us now. You are going to go back to Gotham. You are going to get back into your old life, and you're going to report back to us. And how does he take that? You'll have to read to find out.
It's gonna be squawking mad.
Right.
Not as good as yours. Okay, next up for me, this one's really interesting. This is Jean Grey #1. This is a new mini series, and if you read the Hellfire Gala, you may be thinking, "Hey, no spoilers here, but she is no more at the end of
That's
that
right.
issue." So what is this? Well, Jean Grey is going to mentally go back through all of the kind of big events in her life and figure out where did the X-Men go wrong and see those scenarios play out. So this is really, really cool. Very surprising. I just thoroughly enjoyed this. So if you want to see a really cool kind of a take on an Elseworld story, but in continuity, check out Jean Grey #1.
Next from Image Comics is the Schlub #1. This one was a really fun read. This guy right here, his name is Roger Dalton. The very first line of the book is, "This is Roger Dalton. He sucks." He's a failed dentist. Nothing is going right in his life. And then a fight between this guy, his name's Cirrus. He's the world's most powerful, most famous hero. A fight with him and a villain comes busting through Roger's dentist office. And through circumstance, they become body swapped to where Roger is now in his body, and he's now got a large responsibility on his shoulders, but he may not want to give up the power to go back to being his regular self.
Next up for me, we have Big Game #2. This is the Mark Miller shared universe book, and let me just say, if you've got a favorite Millerverse character,
Right.
they're not safe. I'll say a couple of my favorite ones are dead by the end of this. So this is pretty shocking. No one is safe in this. Like literally, characters that were in books that just came out months ago are gone. So you'll have to read it to find out what. But this is crazy. Continues to be a really fun ride. So check out Big Game #2.
Next is Marvel Unleashed #1. This one was a ton of fun. Craven the Hunter kidnaps Lockjaw, and it's up to the other animal members of the Avengers. They don't call them the pet Avengers in this, but it's kind of basically the pet Avengers. You've got Lucky, you've got Chewie, you've got Bats and Frog Thor, Red Wing. They have to sort of band together to save Lockjaw, but when they find out what's happened to him, they may realize that they're in over their heads.
And next up for me, I've got Amazing Spider-Man issue number 32. So this is drawn by Patrick Gleason, who's coming back to do art in this, and it is beautiful. And the story, very interesting. Why has Craven teamed up with the Queen Goblin? And what is their kind of maniacal plans for the reformed Norman Osborn? And how will this lead into the storyline we know that's coming up called Spider-Man's First Hunt?
Right.
So a lot of world building in this one, setting up for some big stuff to come. Uh, Very interesting issue of Amazing Spider-Man.
Next is the Invincible Iron Man number 9. So there's been a lot of talk over the last couple months about this upcoming wedding between Tony Stark and Emma Frost. And we start to see the seeds of that form in this issue. They don't really come up with their full fledged plan yet, but they both acknowledge that we've been beaten down. We want revenge on the people who have beaten us down. We need to form an alliance to get that revenge, and they start to come together. And it's a really good, it's really interesting what they plan on doing. And the last page is also really interesting. So don't miss out on this. A great issue.
And lastly, for me, check this out. This is the foil facsimile of Amazing Spider-Man 300. Now, a lot of people are going to be running out to get this, and of course, it's first appearance of Venom. It's just a fantastic issue. But I did want to let people know, even on this short show, that Marvel misprinted the price, and what they printed on there is what the stores are paying for the book. So don't be surprised if you go into your shop and it's a couple dollars more than what is printed on there, but it is well worth it, and this is going to sell out fast. So don't miss the Amazing Spider-Man 300 facsimile edition. There's a regular version and the foil version.
Nice.
And that is it for our top 10 quick comic picks. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. We've got our longer show coming up where we're going to be going over a lot more of the books, their variants, and getting more in depth with what the storylines are. And also head over to our website, infinityflux.net, where you can pre order and order any of these books you see right now. So, thank you so much for watching.
See ya.
Bye.